Something that I see a lot of people talking about is the ability to be able to multitask. While I don't know if I necessarily agree with that being something that I think is a talent or a tool to be able to master, something that I do think is similar to that and that is not talked about is the ability to juggle multiple different priorities in one's life. Today we're going to be able to talk about how to perform optimally going to work and going to school full time. In my case, I went to school and work full time since I was a senior in high school. I've worked multiple different jobs, but for the past 4 years, I've worked at one of the largest financial institutions in the United States. Continued to get promotions pretty much year after year. And so I really want to be able to discuss just some of the things that really helped me be able to do that and how it actually is very simple once you're just able to really understand some of the key components. Starting off, the most important tool is to know what is your purpose. Now, you don't need to know what is your purpose for your entire life or what is your purpose for the next 10, 15 years. Just know what is your purpose for the tasks that you have set in front of you. For me, knowing that I was going to be going to school and I was going to be working and I had a relationship and fitness was something that was very important to me in the side job and all these different things, I had it all channeled into one purpose. And for me in this situation was I just wanted to show my younger self what it was that we were fighting for when I was younger. I wanted to give myself the life that I had wanted. And so I knew that it was going to take a lot of sacrifices, a lot of sleepless nights through that. But being able to have a purpose let me have something to fall back on. When things get tough, when things get really dark, when things get to where you don't see a way out, if you do not have some sort of foundation, if you do not have an anchor keeping you grounded, you're going to fall off and you're going to go into a space where it's very hard to crawl out of. So having a purpose is a huge tool, and I strongly suggest that being something that really be able to develop. The next one is to be able to allocate your energy wisely. A lot of people talk about how to be able to allocate your time and to be able to do different tasks. I think that it's more important to be able to allocate your energy wisely. So in my situation, I knew that work was going to take more energy, and I actually was going to allow that to happen because I knew that that was what was going to provide more opportunities now. I knew that going to school was going to be a long-term process. So going to school to get my degree in psychology, to end up getting a master's in psychotherapy, and then starting my own practice and having to go through all of those multitude of things, I knew was going to take a long time. So I knew it didn't need all of my energy now. This was going to be something that needed energy for the next 5 to 7 years. So what needed more energy just from a day-to-day outlook was going to work. So when I was able to start saying, I don't need to give 100% energy to work, 100% energy to school, which then ended up being burnt out because you only have so much energy throughout the day. Just like a vehicle, you have to put gas in, you have to refill it, you have to put food into your body, you have to do all of these different things, but it seems like a lot of people do not understand you only have so much energy. So whenever I started allocating just 60% to go towards work, and then I would go even more into that of, okay, so I have 60% energy going into work. What is the number one task that I want to focus on at work? That is being able to communicate efficiently with clients. So I put out of that 60% energy, 50% goes towards that number one task. And that would be the only thing that I would focus on. That would allow me to become highly efficient in my job. I didn't need to know all of the little necessities of my work. I needed to know how could I communicate with clients. Allocating 50 to 60% towards work then allows me to be able to have another 50 or 40% to allocate towards other things that I'm doing in my life. So then what I would choose to do is I would probably allocate another 30% to school. And then once I knew that that 30% was spent up, I would then focus on my relationship and exercising. And that's what I had to give in that day. And I knew that that was just me giving my best. So I think it is extremely important to know what are your energy levels, how to allocate them efficiently, and once you've spent up that energy, to move on to the next task. Extremely important. The next one kind of piggybacks off of what we were just discussing, and that is focusing on key tasks. So like how I explained on me focusing on, I wanted to master the ability to speak with clients, which is still something I have not mastered, but it's something that I expend a lot of energy and time to. You need to focus on the key tasks, and I think this is especially important with school. A lot of people, they'll go to a coffee shop and they'll spend 6 hours just making sure they can get all this stuff done and studying and doing things of being a good student, which I think is important. Something that I found that I had to do because I just didn't have enough time in the day was to focus on what was weighted the most heavily and what was the biggest priority. I actually even hold a Series 6 license, a Series 63 license, and this is just some licenses that are in the financial markets that are important to have at some point. But I did this while I was going to school and still working, so there was a tremendous amount of studying. I studied for about 2 hours each day. I was allocated 8 hours per day to be able to study just for my Series 6 and 63. I studied for 2 hours, and that was because I allocated my time to the key tasks that I needed to understand, and the rest I kind of just let flow through because I knew I wouldn't be able to memorize everything. That's important with school too. If there are multiple different things that I need to accomplish, I'm gonna be fine letting loose a couple of the smaller ones that won't be graded as highly as the other ones. I think that that's really important because you need to understand that you can't do everything. You're not able to do everything because you need to come in first place in terms of the priority. So as long as you can allocate your energy to the key tasks at hand, that is something that you'll be able to be more efficient in terms of work, school, and just in life. The next one that I think is incredibly important is to know when you are personally the most efficient. For myself, I have sleep apnea. I do not sleep good, and I really struggle in the morning. I am not good at waking up early. I am not good at high cognitive abilities in the morning. I can't focus. There's a lot of things that I am just not able to do well in the morning. I am working on it, but right now I'm not good. But I am more of a night person. I do very well at night. So I find for myself, I cut a short period of time of an hour and a half to 2 hours every evening to be able to focus on doing the key tasks at hand. So I would really recommend that you focus on what is it and where is it that I am the most efficient. Am I actually the most efficient at a cafe or something for a couple hours in the afternoon? Go do that. If you're better at a library, go do that. If you're good at home, do that. Do whatever you are the most efficient at during that time, because 2 hours of incredibly focused work is way more beneficial than 6 hours of distracted work. The last one that I think is incredibly important is do not ignore that you are able to take breaks. I took a year off during the pandemic. Work was incredibly hard. I found that I was very stressed about everything that was going on, and I had a 3.95 GPA or something like that at that point of time. I was going to apply for the McCombs Business Program, which you pretty much need a 4.0, and you need to be able to have just incredible letters of recommendation and all of these different things. And I had that, and when the pandemic came around, I ended up failing one of my exams. We lived out at the country at that point of time. I ended up losing Wi-Fi at my apartment or in my room, and I couldn't prove that I didn't cheat during that time. And so all of my hard work, what seems as all of my hard work for 2 years went down the drain because I'd either have to repeat the class and push myself back a whole nother semester, or just not go to the McCombs business program. So I ended up taking a break after that. I needed to rethink about the things that were important to myself. You know, other things happened in my life, and I chose to pursue a degree in psychology. And I find that is now more personally fulfilling, and something that is just incredibly important. And it's still something I do. If I am not feeling like I can perform well, I call in at work. I know that I am the most important part of the things that I do, and so I have to give myself a break. I have to allow myself to rest, and that is something that I think is incredibly important. I really appreciate all of your time watching these videos, and I hope you were able to learn something. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye.